in July of 2005 while escorting a convoy from Baghdad International Airport to Camp Cuervo. I was taking pictures in the gunner's hatch. I tucked my camera away, turned my head to the right, and then I saw the brightest, most brilliant white light. Everything around me was white. I was completely encompassed for a fraction of a second in white. Thought I was dead. The back of my head hit the plate in my armor as my back slammed into the other side of the gunner's hatch. Then the world was orange. For a moment, the loudest noise I've ever heard in my entire life. Then silence. Then brown. The ringing starts. I can't hear. The roof of my mouth is numb. I can feel my fingers. I'm alive. I stumbled when reaching for the 50. I grabbed the handles and started scanning for the son of a bitch that just tried to kill us. Nothing. My vision was blurry. I had to tell myself, don't shoot. You don't have a target. I start to flex each muscle group to make sure all of me is still here while still scanning for a target. I feel pain in my right thigh. I'm dragged inside the vehicle. My team chief grabbed me by the leg and pulled me in. His mouth was moving. I heard nothing but the ring. The driver looked over me in total shock. I learned later that he felt the heat on his leg through the armor. This is my best friend. He thought I'd died. My chief gave me the okay sign and pointed at me. I gave the same response and pointed at my headset and shook my head no. I stood back up in the gunner's hatch. The next sight was the second worst thing to see in Iraq. We were cut off from the convoy. Right after the explosion, morning traffic just started pouring in. My first thought, all of them knew. We had to catch up. Then the most wonderful sound I ever heard, radio chatter. McCormick's checking in with the convoy. I can hear it. It's fuzzy. I let them know I'm back up. We're screwed, but I could see the convoy. We're cut off. McCormick says, screw it, fire some rounds in the air. The cars had us cut off. I fired, traffic won't move. A white Caprice Classic slammed into the back of the vehicle. I turn with my M4 still shouldered. I see the driver. I pull the trigger. Nothing. No click. Nothing. What I thought was a couple of rounds was a whole magazine. I had to calm down. The driver had his hands up. I think he knew he almost died. A few bumps. We're back in. Traffic had opened up. We're back in them with a convoy. The IED was placed just under the asphalt. It absorbed most of the shrapnel. We just got the blast. The vehicle that was in front of us said there was just a huge ball of smoke. This explosion. And a Humvee just come riding out of it. An all too familiar sight. A small white flash. Part of the brilliant white light I'd seen earlier in Iraq, but smaller. On the vehicle in front of me, reservoir dog's been hit. The tire blew straight up from the vehicle. I seen it in the air. As it caught my eye, so did an F-15 that was coming over for air support. I know it wasn't this way, but I swear the tire went up as high as the F-15. They were at similar altitudes. The bird went bang to come back around. The back of the convoy was getting hit. I was screaming for the gunner to get back up. I couldn't see him. The vehicle wasn't moving. The radios were silent. Nothing was going on. Nobody was coming up. I kept yelling, screaming. the gunner's first name, Mike, over and over again. The next day, I could barely speak. Eventually, something comes over the radio. Personnel and reservoir dog, everyone's good. No injuries. Now we have to recover this vehicle. We are not in a good place.
This road I've been traveling down, well, it makes you feel alone. Pumping songs nobody wants to hear, well, it takes its heavy toll.
In the fall of 2009, the 1st of the 178th Field Artillery Battalion, the Swamp Fox Battalion, left for Fort Stewart, Georgia to start training for a mission to Afghanistan. Our mission was to provide security forces to the Provincial Reconstruction Team in the RC East. My destination was 5 Ghazni. We trained at Fort Stewart during the fall and was able to be with our families on Christmas. After Christmas, in January of 2010, we left for Camp Attebury, Indiana, to meet up with a unit that we were going to be protecting in Ghazni, Afghanistan. My name is Matthew Stone. I grew up in the Fountain Inn area of South Carolina in Greenville County. I am 50 years old currently, and I was 38 years old when I deployed to Afghanistan, which was my 3rd deployment, 2nd with the 1st to 178th. My first deployment was to Somalia with the United States Marine Corps in 1992-1993. I was an engineer in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years, leaving in 94. I went into the South Carolina National Guard in the year 2000 and deployed to Iraq in 2004 and 2005 with the 1st 178th to do convoy security. I also was on the Honor Guard for the South Carolina Military Honors Program. We did military funerals, even did an appearance on the TV show Army Wives, and then I deployed to Afghanistan in 2009 or 2010. We started the deployment in 2009 in the fall at Fort Stewart, and then went on to Camp Attebury, and then eventually on to Ghazni, Afghanistan. Fort Stewart, a place we know all too well, the swamp. We were going down there Monday through Friday, getting to come home on the weekends, about 4.5 hours away. Come back, hit the ranges, take classes, do some administrative, medical work, more ranges, some more classes, get out in the woods, do some land nav, so we can go to Camp Attebury, Indiana, and go to more ranges and take some more classes. First, the 178th Field Artillery, our unit, part of the 218th Infantry Brigade. We're an artillery battalion. We had already deployed to Iraq in 2004 and 2005, and some of our guys had went on the brigade's deployment in 2008 over to Afghanistan already. But like I said, we're an artillery unit about to do a security forces mission, which is an infantry mission. A little different from what we're used to. But those of us that have been to Iraq kind of used to doing something a little different. Like I said, Fort Stewart was mostly ranges and classes, and our unit kind of gelling together. Monday mornings, pack up in a truck, go out to the field, do ranges, classes, come back and hang out at the barracks. Here's a quick tour of the barracks to give you an idea. back to training. A lot of stuff we'd done before, a lot of stuff we knew, a lot of stuff we didn't. We learned a lot of new things. I taught a lot of classes on different weapon systems, crew serve weapons, getting the guys ready. A friend of mine had been over in 2008, my best friend from the Marine Corps. I was talking to him as much as I could, trying to get an idea of what we're getting into, what Afghanistan was like. Joey would tell me the truth. He'd let me know everything. Let me introduce you to Sergeant Sean Hill. He served in Iraq with the 1st and 178th Field Artillery. He came home and in 2008 volunteered to deploy with a brigade to go over and do a mentor mission in Afghanistan. He didn't come home. Sergeant Hill was loved in our battalion. I thought highly of him. I was on the honor guard and did his funeral service on the firing party. One of the hardest things I've ever had to do. A lot of guys in the battalion that knew him. Maybe this was our chance for a little payback. All the training in Fort Stewart, Georgia had come to an end. It was time to head out, pack everything up, everything we learned on all the ranges, the classes, everything we had learned for a couple months at Fort Stewart in the fall. We're now heading to Camp Attebury, Indiana. After a brief Christmas vacation, January 4th, we were headed to Camp Attebury, Indiana. And it was cold. It was very, very, very cold. There we met up with the unit that we're going to be protecting. Mostly Navy, but some civil affairs from the Army Reserve and some Seabees. We were there to train with them, but our main mission was to protect them and meet our command. Commander Kapusta, a Navy SEAL, was our commander. Our first sergeant, or Senior Chief Anthony A. Frady, Navy SEAL out of Team 3. We were training to protect a unit that was led by 2 Navy SEALs. I was a little confused, really confused. We were training for the Preventional Reconstruction Team. This was going to be a little different. This was going to be a lot different than anything I'd ever done before. Footsteps in the snow. Something heard all the time at Camp Attebury, Indiana. Our MOB station. Here we're going to train and get ready for the upcoming deployment to Ghazni, Afghanistan. It was cold, it was icy, it was snowing the whole time. While at Camp Attebury, we started our training pretty much within the next few days. We hit the ground running. The barracks was a little cramped, but we were used to it. We're artillery. We spent time in guns. Classes after classes, ranges after ranges, classes after classes, and ranges after ranges, over and over again. Different lanes, IED training, all sorts of stuff getting us ready to go over. More ranges. This place was crazy. It was cold. We were learning a lot of us Iraq vets. Mind-blowing. Paid actors to come out to act like civilian populace in Afghanistan. This was some good training. During base defense training, I was assigned to the personnel search area with Petty Officer Matei. She was a young lady from the Northeast. I thought highly of her after speaking with her. She had deployed to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, as a Master of Arms in the Navy. She was basically a detention officer. Some of the things she told me sickened me, of how the female guards were treated by the detainees, terrorists.
was worse than the inmates in the United States treated the female officers, but I didn't let her know that. She wrestled with this a little. Didn't bother her, she said, but you could tell. Beautiful young lady. Very promising future. If you need help, please reach out. With just a few hiccups in the training at Camp Attebury, it was time to start packing up, getting ready to head out. Long flight, few stops, and then we're in Afghanistan. We took a civilian aircraft. Took us a few days to get to Kazakhstan with a stop in Shannon, Ireland. Heading into Afghanistan where we're trading our Humvees for MRAPs. A place where young boys were about to become men in some horrific ways. We stopped off in Kazakhstan for a few days, just awaiting a flight to get to Bagram, where we would continue just a few more hours of training and head out to Afghanistan. We're jailed now. We're a unit. The guys from the other units, the tanker unit out of Florence, have become brothers. We're ready. We can do this. Time to go. Finally, aboard a C-17 aircraft, heading into Afghanistan. I'm going to be landing at Bagram Air Base. I'm going to stay there a few days, get ready to head into Ghazni, and do, guess what, some more training. And then we'll be heading out to our new home in Ghazni and start this little adventure. After months of preparation, the time had finally come. We're in a Chinook helicopter, heading to our new home for the next 10 months. For the Preventional Reconstruction Team Security Forces Platoon, we'll be landing in Fob Ghazni. A hell of a place. I'm about to find out.